Welcome. Today we're going to discuss a simple interest, and as you can see, simple interest is the same amount of interest that you receive each year. So the first thing we need to know is what is the formula for simple interest. So we could say SI, simple interest, is equal to P times R times T. Or we could write it like this: simple interest is equal to principal times rate times time. Now, to avoid wasting time, we always use P times R times T. In fact, to save time, we don't even write S, we just write I. I for interest. Interest is equal to PRT. We even leave out the multiplication sign. We just say interest is equal to PRT. Or you'll find in some books, they will tell you that interest is equal to PIN, PIN, where P is principal, I is interest rate, and N is the time. Now let's take an example. Calculate the simple interest on 500 Rand at 10% per annum for 3 years. Now, before I start this example, I'm going to give you the most important point about simple interest. So note well. So even before I start this example, note well. This formula uses time, T for time, time. Time must be in years. For example, 3 months. Now the time is not in years, you are just given 3 months. So you must change 3 months to years. So you'll say 3 divided by 12, so that's now in 2 years. If you are given weeks, for example, 37 weeks, then you divide by 52, because there's 52 weeks in a year. So it will be 37 over 52 years. And let's suppose you can have another example. Suppose you were given 219 days. Then you will divide by 365. 219 divided by 365. So you see, if you got time in months or weeks or days, you must convert it into years. If you got months, you divide by 12 because there's 12 months in a year. If you got weeks, you divide by 52 because there are 52 weeks in a year. If you got days, you divide by 365 because there's 365 days in a year. We don't worry about the quarter. We just divide by 365. All right. So that's a very, very important point. So we go back to our question, and in our question, time is 3 years, so that's not a problem at all. Time is in years, and we can do this problem now. All right, so this question says calculate the simple interest on 500 Rand at 10% per annum for 3 years. First thing we do, we check time. Time is in years, so there's no problem. So you will say interest is equal to PRT, which really means principal times rate times time. Now, the principal, the 500 Rand is the principal. This is the principal. And the 10% is your rate. and your 3 years is your time. So your principal is 500, your rate is 10%, and your time is 3 years. So we substitute. In other words, we fill in the numbers for these words. The principal is 500 times the rate. The rate is 10% times the time. The time is 3 years. Now, that's 500. Now, 10% means 10 divided by 100. So you rewrite 10% as 10 divided by 100 times 3. And then you can just use your calculator. You can punch this into your calculator and get the answer. But suppose you don't have a calculator, then I will just show you what you're supposed to do. That 100 divides here 5 times. So what we are left with, 5 times 10, 50. 50 times 3, it's 150 rands. So the interest here is 150 rands. But you can put that in a calculator and get the answer. So that is how we calculate simple interest. Welcome back. Now, in simple interest, if you look at the formula, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 unknowns. So you could be asked to calculate the interest or the principal or the rate or the time. In the first example we did, we calculated the interest. Now in the next example we're going to do, we are going to learn to calculate the rate. So let's say you are given this question. Alright, let's have a look at this question. 500 Rand earns 75 Rand interest over 3 years. Calculate the rate. So you just start with the formula as it is. Interest is equal to principal times rate times time. So let's see. Let's write some notes here. What is the 500? The 500 is actually the principal. What is the 75 Rand? The 75 Rand is actually the interest. And 3 years is actually the time. So what we don't have is the rate. We don't have the rate. So, we know the principal is 500. We know the interest is 75. We know the time is 3 years. We are trying to find the rate. So all you do is you start substituting in this. Now when you're doing simple interest, you must know equations. If you don't know equations, you'll be in trouble. So let's see. The interest is 75 Rand, so you just substitute. 75 is equal to principal. Principal is 500 times the rate. We don't know what the rate is. We are trying to find the rate. We don't know what the rate is. And the time is 3. Now, we just simplify this side. 500 times 3 will give you 1,500 times R. If you simplify that, it's 1,500 R. From your algebra, you know that 1,500 times R can be written as 1,500 R. Now from laws of equation, you are allowed to write 1,500 R is equal to 75. So you are solving for R. R is equal to 75 divided by 1,500. R is equal to. Now you take your calculator and you divide 75 by 1,500. So you take your calculator and you divide 75 divided by 1,500 is equal to, and you press SD, you get 0,05. 0,05. Now that's a decimal fraction, but you want the percentage. So therefore you'll have to multiply it by 100. So 0,05 times 100. Because you want to convert that decimal fraction into a percentage, and you end up with the rate equal to 5%. So that's your final answer. The rate is equal to 5%. Right, we'll give you a second, a couple of seconds to have a look at that question. Right, welcome. Let's look at number 3. A sum invested for 4 years grows to 960 Rand at 12% per annum. Calculate the principal. So let's put our figures down. Let's see. 4 years, that means T is equal to 4. It grows to 960. That means the amount, or the word sum, is equal to 960. Alright, let's write it like this. 960 Rand. And then the rate is 12%. That means R is 12%. And the time is, well, we've already written the time. What we are trying to find? We are trying to find the principal. Oh, we're not taking. Right, so now we want to work this example out. So again, if we look carefully, we find that this sum has grown to 960 Rand, and the rate is 12%, and the time is 4 years, and you want to know what is the principal. So here what we do, we ask ourselves, what is the sum equal to? The sum is always equal to the principal plus the interest, which is P, or let's do it step by step. Principal plus the interest. Now what's the formula for interest? The formula for interest is PRT. Instead of writing the word sum, we're going to write S. Now S is equal to, you remove the common factor P, P into 1 plus RT. So that's a convenient formula to use. Alright, so let's go through this slowly. You see, we're trying to solve this problem. We know the time, we know the sum, we know the rate, but we don't know the principal. Now the sum is always equal to the principal plus the interest. And the formula for interest is PRT. Now this is called removing common factors. So we remove the common factor P. P divided by P gives you 1. PRT, you see, P divided by P is equal to 1 because it cancels off. And then PRT divided by P, the P's will cancel off and you'll be left with RT. So that's how we're getting the RT over here. Now this formula here, if we look at the information we have here, do we have the sum? Yes. Do we have P? No. Do we have R? Yes. Do we have T? Yes. So by using this formula here, we will be able to solve this question. So the sum is equal to P into 1 plus RT. So you must remember this formula. Right? Remember this formula. So, what is the sum? The sum is 960. What is P? We don't know. 1 Well, 1 is 1. You can't do anything about 1. It's called a constant. It remains the same. This is the number 1. This is the number 1. So 1 is there. It's a number. R is 12% times 4, which is 4 years. Right. Now what we do, we use our calculator to help us there. So we leave the 960 here. There's your P into, and you can put that in the calculator just like that, or let's put it like this, 1 plus, this is 12 over 100 times 4. Maybe it's better that we put this in the calculator and see what answer we get. So we'll have 960 is equal to P into. Now we're going to put that in the calculator and see what answer we get. Alright, so we take the calculator, and in the calculator we put 1 plus 12 divided by 100 times 4 is equal to, and I get 37 over 25. I press SD, I get 1,48. So I get 1,48. So once again we have an equation here which we have to solve. So the laws of equation allows me to write 1,48p. See this, you see that? You're allowed to write the 1,48 in the front. So P 1,48 can be written as 1,48p. Alright? P into 1,48 can be written as 1,48p is equal to 960. So P is equal to 960 divided by 1,48, and P is equal to, once again you get your calculator, punch it into your calculator, 960 divided by 1.48 is equal to 648, 648, which is equal to 648,65. Alright, let's have a look at this example, number 4. A sum of 5,000 invested for a certain period earns 1,200 Rand interest. I should make it clear, it earns 1,200 Rand interest at 8% per annum. For how long was the money invested? Now remember, in this question, the topic is written very clearly that we are dealing with simple interest. Therefore, every time we're talking about interest, we're talking about simple interest. Right. Now, if you look at the information, now be very careful with this question. A sum of 5,000 Rand, sorry. So this 5,000, is it the sum or is it the principal? This word sum here simply means amount. It means an amount of 5,000. Therefore, this 5,000 is actually the principal. So this 5,000 is actually the principal. Be very quite careful. Read questions critically and make sure that you are careful of the English that is used. So this word sum here simply means amount. An amount of 5,000 invested for a certain period earns 1,200 Rand interest at 8% per annum. For how long was the money invested? Right, so that 5,000 is principal. And let's see, 1,200 is the interest. The rate is 8%. The time we don't know, we are trying to solve for time. So once again, we got two choices actually. There's two formulas. One formula says interest is equal to P times R times T. And then in the last example we said the formula, there's another formula, sum is equal to P into 1 plus RT. Now, if you look at the given information, you got P. In other words, you got P. You got this. You got I. You've got that. You've got I. You got R. You got R. You want to find T. So you can use this formula here. If you use this formula, if you try to use this formula here, you will not succeed because this S stands for principal plus the interest. So if you're using this formula, sorry, you can use this formula, I'll show you just now, you can use the formula. So the word sum here meant the amount. So its principal is 5,000, interest. So we can continue. So by substituting, this will be 1,200 is equal to 5,000 times the rate, which is 8%, times the time. 1,200 is equal to 5,000 times 8 over 100 times T. Now we can put this part in the calculator. We can put that part in the calculator. 1,200 is equal to, and you go and put that in the calculator, and in your calculator 5,000 times 8 divided by 100 is equal to 400. So you get 400 T. Once again, laws of equation allows you to write 400 T on this side is equal to 1,200 on that side. You are solving for T, so T is equal to 1,200 divided by 400, and you put that in the calculator. 1,200 divided by 400, and you get the answer 3. So the time is 3 years. Alright, so in these 4 examples that we have done, we are showing you how you will be required to calculate different quantities. In this particular question, you were trying to find the time. So read the question very carefully, and then, so I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to have a look at this. Alright, or to summarize, principal was 5,000, interest 1,200, rate 8%, time. So you decided to use the interest formula. So you substitute interest, principal, rate, time. Use the calculator here. You get 400. Laws of equation, divide by 400, and you get time equal to 3 years. So I'm going to give you 1 or 2 seconds to have a look at that. And after that, I'm going to do it that way. So give you 2 seconds to look at that. Alright, now let's do it in a different way. Now we're going to do it in a different way. Now, if we use this formula, we need the sum. Now remember, sum is always equal to principal plus interest. So the principal is 5,000, the interest is 1,200, therefore the sum is 6,200. So, you see, you calculate the sum, which is 6,200. So you have to calculate the sum. Now you are ready to substitute here. So the sum is 6,200, and the principal is clearly 5,000 into 1 plus the rate is 8%, and the time we don't know, we write T. So that's what we're doing there. Then that will be 6,200 is equal to 5,000 into 1 plus 8 over 100 T. Now you must be very careful. The rule of BODMAS applies here. The rule of BODMAS applies here. So, you cannot add these two numbers. You cannot add these two numbers because the rule of BODMAS applies. These two are being multiplied. 8 over 100 is multiplied by t. So you cannot use, so be careful. Now, there's your 6,200. There's your 5,000. There's your 1. When you put 8 over 100 in your calculator, you'll get 0,08 t. Right. So now it is simplified. So 8 over 100 gives you 0,08 times t. We write it there. Now, we are trying to solve for t. So we don't want this 5,000. So what we'll do, we divide both sides by 5,000. So you'll have 6,200 divided by 5,000 is equal to 5,000 into 1 plus 0,08 t divided by 5,000. So the 5,000 will cancel with the 5,000. This one you'll put it in the calculator, and in your calculator you'll put in 6,200 divided by 5,000, and you will get 31 over 25, which is 1,24. So when here you will get 1,24 is equal to, that's, you're left with 1 plus 0,08 t. You're only left with what is in the bracket. You see? This you put in the calculator, you get 1,24. Those cancel off. Then you're left with that. You can ignore the brackets because there's a plus sign in front of it. So, or if you open the bracket out, you'll get 1 plus 0,08 t. Now you're solving this equation. So what you'll do, once again, I like to bring all this to the left hand side. So I will have 1 plus 0,08 t is equal to 1,24. You see? See, there's a rule in equation which says if you bring everything from the right hand side to the left hand side and take everything from the left hand side to the right hand side, then no sign changes. Right? It's called all for all. All for all. This is my own way of explaining it. When we take all the things from there and write it here, you take all the things from here and write it there on that side, then nothing changes, no signs change. Now we're trying to solve for t, so we need to get rid of that 1. So you'll have 0,08 t is equal to 1,24 minus 1. So you'll have 0,08 t is equal to 0,24. Then t is equal to 0,24 divided by 0,08. And when you put that in the calculator, when you put 0,24 divided by 0,08 in the calculator, you'll get the answer 3. So once again you find the time is 3. So whichever way you do it, you can get the right answer. So this is a little more complicated, but you must know this method also, because you can get a question sometime where you'll be forced to do it this way. Alright, we will stop there. And we're giving you a few seconds to have a look at it. Alright, so we've gone through the different kinds of examples, and shortly we're going to give you an exercise, and then you can try the exercise. So in a few seconds we'll have an exercise for you on the screen. Welcome. Here is your exercise. Number 1. Explain what is simple interest. What is the formula for simple interest? Number 2, what is the formula for simple amount? Another word for simple amount or amount is future value. So we can say simple amount, future value, or sum. 4 words, 4 different choices we got. Simple amount, sum, future value, or let's see, what was the 4 now? Simple amount or amount, that's 2. Future value is 3. So why did I say 4? Right, that's correct. Simple amount or future value, or the word sum, S-U-M. Alright, so that was question 2. Question 3. Express in terms of a year. 3.1, 3 months. 3.2, 7 months. 3.3, 13 weeks. You have to convert these into, and 5.4, 23 weeks. You have to convert these into years. Right, sorry about that errors. It's supposed to be 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4. Let me correct it straight away. Sorry. That's 3.1. That's 3.2. That's 3.3. And let me change this question. Make it more interesting. Make it 230 days, because I forget about days. Alright, so that was question 1, 2, 3. Let's move on, and this will be question 3.4. Right, so there's your question 3 now. 3.1, 3 months. 3.2, 7 months. 3.3, 13 weeks. 3.4, 230 days. Right, let's move on to number... Oh, sorry, we have more questions there in number 3. We have more questions in number 3. Then we have 3.5. 3.5 is 200 days. And then we have 3.6, which is 4 years and 37 days. 3.6, 4 years and 37 days. Right, let's move on to number 4 and 5. Let's move on to number 4 and 5. Number 4. Calculate the simple interest on 500 Rand at 10% per annum for the following periods. So this will be 4.1, 3 years, 4.2, 19 months, and 4.3, 39 weeks. So there's 3 different examples in number 4. Number 5. Calculate for how long 400 Rand was invested at 12% per annum to earn 144 Rand interest. Number 6. At what rate was 8,000 Rand invested in order to earn 2,400 simple interest over 6 years? We now move on to in number 6, you must verify your answer by using the answer you found. Number 7, how long will it take an amount to double at 20% per annum simple interest? Number 8, how much can an investor expect if she invests 4,000 Rand at 4% per annum for 10.1, 5 years, and 10.2, 3 years and 7 months. Sorry, this is supposed to be 8.1. This is supposed to be 8.2. So we'll repeat number 8. How much can an investor expect if she invests 4,000 at 4% per annum for 8.1, 5 years, 8.2, 3 years and 7 months? Please stop the DVD now and complete the examples, and when you're ready you can come back for a review of those answers. The solutions to this exercise will be given to you in the next DVD. Thank you. Bye. Hello, welcome back to our presentation. Here are your answers for the exercise on simple interest in number 1. You have to explain what is simple interest. So you simply say simple interest is a fixed amount, that you receive yearly. And then they wanted the formula for simple interest. Simple interest is equal to P times R times T, or simple interest is equal to P I N. Any one of those two answers. Number 2. What is the formula for simple amount? Number 2. Simple amount or amount or future value or sum is equal to or sum. S is equal to P into 1 plus RT. Number 3. Explain what express in terms of a year. 3 months. Express in terms of a year, 3 months. So number 3.1. 3 months is equal to 3 over 12 year. 3.2. 7 months is equal to 7 over 12 year. 3.3. 13 weeks. 13 weeks is equal to 13 divided by 52. 3.4, 23 weeks. Is equal to 23 over 52 here. 3.5, 200 days is equal to 200 divided by 365, and finally 4 years and 37 days. Well, let's do this one here. 4 years and 37 days. Let's 4 years and 37 days. Well, the 4 years is 4, so that will just remain the same. But the 37 has to be converted, so that will be 37 divided by 365. Yeah. Alright, those were the answers from number 1 till number 3. Shortly, we'll give you the remaining answers. Alright, 4.1. Simple interest. Calculate simple interest on 500 Rand at 10% per annum for 3 years. So simple interest is equal to P times R times T. The principal is 500. The rate is 10%. The time is 3 years. Time must be in years. Time is in years, no problem. So that will give you 500 times 10 over 100 times 3. And you put that in your calculator. So you just put it into your calculator. You don't want to make mistakes, so you just plug in to your calculator 500 times 10 divided by 100 times 3 is equal to, and you get 150. So the answer is 150 rands. Alright, that's 4.1. Right, we give you a couple of seconds to have a look at that. Okay, 4.2. Calculate the simple interest on 500 Rand at 10% per annum for 19 months. So we got to be careful. Now you got 19 months. So you must convert it to years, which is 19 divided by 12. So the answer is 19 over 12 years. So, very important to convert the months. So simple interest is equal to P times R times T. Your principal is 500. Your rate is 10%. Your time is 19 over 12. That gives you 500 times 10 over 100 times 19 over 12. So you put into your calculator, you put in 500 times 10 divided by 100 times 19 divided by 12 is equal to, you get 475 over 6, and you convert that by pressing the SD button, and you get 79,166, which is actually equal to 79,17. We're dealing with rands and cents, so you round off to the nearest cent. Because that is more than 5, this will change by 1. It will come 1 extra, so it's 79 Rand 17 cents. That's 4.2. We'll give you a few seconds to take that down. Okay, we're looking at 4.3, I think it's 4.3, yes, 4.3. Simple interest on 500 Rand at 10% per annum for 39 weeks. Once again, 39 weeks has to be converted. So 39 weeks is equal to 39 divided by 52, because there's 52 weeks in a year, and so that's now converted. Simple interest is equal to P times R times T. The principal is 500 times the percentage, 10%, times 39 over 52. It's a good habit to keep this in a bracket. That is equal to 500 times 10 over 100, and it's also a good habit to keep this in a bracket, times 39 over 52. So you put that in your calculator. You got 500 times 10 divided by 100 times 39 divided by 52 is equal to, and you get 75 over 2, which is equal to, convert to decimal fractions, 37 Rand 50. Alright, that was 4.3. Alright, number 5. For how long was 400 Rand invested at 12% per annum to earn 144 Rand interest? Well, let's put down what is 400. 400 Rand is really P, your principal. Principal is 400 Rand. Your rate is 12%. And your interest is 144. We are trying to find the time. So we want to find the time. So we start with the normal simple interest formula and substitute accordingly. What is a simple interest? Well, you can see that the interest is 144 Rand. So 144 will come here. 144 Rand will come here where there's interest. So that's 144. The principal is 400 Rand, so that's 400. The rate is 12%, so that's 12 over 100. 12% means 12 over 100 times T, which we don't know. So that's 144 is equal to 400. Now, we can put this in the calculator. We can put that part in the calculator, which we will do. We take 400 times 12 divided by 100 is equal to 48. And this becomes 48 T. So 48 times T is 48 T. So we put that in the calculator. We got 48. 48 times T is 48T. Now laws of equation, I can write 48T is equal to 144. I'm solving for T. So T is equal to 144 divided by 48. You must know your laws of equations. 144 divided by 8, 144 divided by 48, sorry, is equal to 3. So the time is actually 3 years. So that was number 5. Alright, number 6. At what rate was 8,000 Rand invested in order to earn 2,400 simple interest over 6 years? So, let's see, at what rate? We don't know the rate. We don't know what the rate is. And 8,000 Rand was invested, that means the principal is 8,000 Rand. 2,400 Rand is the interest. Interest is 2,400 Rand. And the time is 6 years. The time is 6 years. So once again, we can use a simple interest formula. Simple interest is equal to P times R times T. And you can see that interest is 2,400. So the interest will come in the place of SI. Interest will come in the place of SI. So 2,400 is equal to, principal is 8,000. The rate, at what rate? We don't know the rate, so it will remain R times the time, which is 6. That will give you 2,400 is equal to. Now, you can multiply these two. You can multiply these two. So you'll multiply those two in the calculator and you will get 48,000. That will give you 48,000 times R. Well, 48,000 times R means 48,000 R. That's how we write it. Now once again, that's an equation and it needs to be solved. So using the equation rules, you can write 48,000 R on this side and you can write 2,400 on that side. You are solving for R, so R is equal to 2,400 divided by 48,000. R is equal to, when you divide 2,400 with your calculator, 2,400 divided by 48,000, you get the answer 1 over 20, which is 0,05. You get 1 over 20, which you can put in the calculator and gives you 0,05. Now, that's a decimal fraction. You have to convert it to a percent. So you multiply it by 100. So 0,05 times 100. And your final answer is 5. So the answer is 5%. Okay, that comes to the end of number 6. We still have 7 and 8 to complete. We look at number 7. How long will it take an amount to double at 20% per annum simple interest? How long? How long means time. So we're looking for time. So we don't know what's the time, T. Then the 20% is the rate. So we know the rate, we know the time. Now we don't know what's the principal and we don't know what is the sum. Alright. But the keyword is double. If the amount doubles, then it means that if the principal, you can choose any figure you like. If the principal was 100 Rand, then the sum is 200 Rand. You can see that it has doubled. You can choose any figure. You can say 1 Rand and 2 Rand, it will still work out. Or you can choose 100 and 200. So, a little bit of problem solving here. A little bit of problem solving technique. You must know that it is your right to say, let the principal be 100 Rand, let the sum be 200. Or let the principal be 1 Rand and let the sum be 2 Rand. So now, since we got principal and sum, etc., then it's far better for us to now use the formula for sum. The formula for sum says sum is equal to P into 1 plus into 1 plus RT. Sum is equal to P into 1 plus RT. So the sum is 200. The principal is 100 into 1. The rate is 20%. 20% means 20 over 100. By now you should be familiar with that. 20% means 20 over 100 times R. Now once again, we remind you that there's BODMAS here. So you cannot add these two. It's BODMAS. These two are being multiplied. So what you do, we can get rid of this 100 first. We don't want the 100 there. So we can divide both sides by 100. Alright, sorry, let's do some correction. This is time, not rate. This is time. So we want to get rid of this 100 rand. Alright, firstly that's time. When you get rid of this 100 by dividing by 100 on both sides. Now this becomes 2. You can put it in your calculator. These cancel off. And we're left with 1 plus 20 over 100 T. Now, what we're going to do is, we just want to simplify that. You put it in your calculator. 20 divided by 100 will give you 0,2. So this becomes 0,2 T. And once again, you have an equation here that you want to solve, right? So let's do it a little differently this time. Let's suppose I bring this to the left hand side. If I bring a positive term to the left hand side, it will become negative. It will become minus 0,2 T. I need the 1 there, so the 1 will remain there. Now if I take the 2 across, it will become minus 2. So I will end up with minus 0,2 T is equal to negative 1. Use your calculator and you'll find that 1 minus 2 will give you minus 1. Now you're solving for T. T is equal to negative 1 divided by negative 0,2. You put that in the calculator. Negative 1 divided by negative 0,2 and you'll get the answer 5. So the answer is 5 years. Alright, that was number 7. Welcome back. How much can an investor expect if she invests 4,000 at 4% for 5 years? So how much can she expect? How much means we're looking for the sum. So the sum is equal to P into 1 plus RT. Now if we look at this example, P is equal to 4,000. The rate is 4% and the time is 5 years. So the principal is 4,000, the rate is 4%, the time is 5 years. So you want the sum. We're trying to find the sum. The principal is 4,000 into 1 plus R is 4% times the time, which is 5. That will give you 4,000 into 1 plus 4 over 100 times 5. Now these are all numbers, therefore we can put it in the calculator. In fact, you can put the whole thing in the calculator, right from here to there, exactly like that with the brackets. But I just want to do it step by step. So I'm going to leave the 4,000 here. I just want to do this part here. So that part you put in your calculator. It is 1 plus 4 divided by 100 times 5 is equal to, and you get the answer, change it to a decimal fraction, you get the answer 1, 2. So you put that in the calculator now. So I don't need the bracket to be so big now. Right? So you put this into the calculator. 4,000 times 1.2, and the final answer is 4,800. So the sum that this lady can expect is 4,800. Alright, we'll let that run for a couple of seconds so that you can get a grip of that properly, and then we'll do the last one, which is 8.2. Right, 8.2. How much can an investor expect if she invests 4,000 Rand at 4% per annum for 4 years, 7 months? Supposed to have been P a year per annum for 4 years at 7 months. But firstly, 4 years and 7 months has to be changed. So the 4 will remain 4. But the 7 months, that 7 will be divided by 12. So the time is now equal to 4 and 7 over 12. Once again, we're trying to find the sum. So sum is equal to P into 1 plus RT, which is equal to 4,000 into 1 plus R is 4%. 4% by now you know means 4 over 100. Time. The time now is 4 and 7 over 12. Now you can see you will have to be a little smart here. Into 1 plus. Well, if you use a calculator, let's tell you how to use the calculator here. You will type in, we're going to leave the 4,000 here, but we're going to learn how to do this in the calculator. So in the calculator, you're going to say, right, let's say you're using a Casio. So this will be 1 plus 4 divided by 100. Up to here it's normal, times. But to put this number in, to put this fraction in, you'll have to use the shift and fraction button. You will have to use the shift and fraction button. You see? So if I now follow that instructions, so the answer is 1 plus 4 divided by 100 times shift fraction button. Put in the 4, go up, and put in the 7, then come down, put in the 12, then go out, and then press the equal to sign, and you will get 71 over 60, which is equal to 4,000. Well, now that you've got 71 over 60, you can multiply this now in the calculator. So that will be 4,000 times 71 divided by 60 is equal to, you will get 1,4,200 divided by 3, and you convert that into a decimal fraction, you will get 4,733,333, and if you convert that into rands and cents, it will be 4,733,33. So that's your final answer. Alright, so that was the last example, 8.2. Okay,